Hello, everybody. This is a little awkward, but this video is gonna be a little different today because this is post commentary. I forgot to save my mic when I recorded this, so I'm doing my best to try to commentate a video of this and do my best to sync this up. It's probably not going to be synced. I have tried. I am not the most tech-savvy person. So we'll do our best as we go through the Forgo zone, which I still think is a weird name. But, yeah. I'm kind of just wandering around here. I'm going to do my best not to spoil all the things I'm going to do. But, yeah. As before, tornado through a lot of this stage. This part, I don't think the soul pieces are that deviously hidden, but you just gotta, pay attention to the sides of the level and not just what's directly in front of you. I'm very paranoid. I try not to, miss everything. I did have to edit this a little bit just to edit out parts where I was just searching for some of the things I didn't find the first run through, so we'll see how that goes. You get to kind of watch me fumble around as I do this. I hesitated as to whether I would just leave it with no commentary just because it's too much of a pain to try to sync it, but I figure we don't break consistency. If every other level had commentary over it, why stop now, right? And this is effectively the last level of the game, for the most part, so, may as well try. It's not the best that this had to happen, but at the last possible second, but you do what you can. And then going through this level with, this is probably one of the last times we'll use Storm Tornado too. It's kind of been weird trying to reuse it. See, I go over, there's the one on the right there that you might not see right away, and then those star coins are meant to lead you to one that you could not see with the camera before. And I actually missed that the first time I did this level on my first file. But you open that treasure chest and you get the triple you need, which is nice. I also thought about if I would just replay the level and just show you, because I think the soul pieces are still there. They're just like coins or whatever, but I figured that, you don't get the Alpha messages until you've gotten everything and all that. So it is what it is. Going through this very fiery section with ice, gonna come in handy for a little bit here. But they mix in all the weird desert pokies, which is an interesting kind of change. And this is also a section where I miss a couple of these the first time, so I'm right here with the viewer. If you see me just walk past one like an idiot and not get it, then trust me, I am well aware. In comparison to the, I guess I would normally do this. I'm not talking as much, it feels like. Because I don't want to be too specific and say, oh yeah, I totally froze that Snackers right there, because it's probably going to be several seconds off, but it is what it is. We head down that ladder and get that one, which that was definitely not there before, and then we get that triples. We're going to have to go around to get it after we get through all this stuff. I'm trying to go very slow and steady with this level since, they have ratcheted up the challenge a fair bit. And you just barely get that time crash as well, which I don't really actually need, but it was nice to have. And then in comparison to how you do this the first time through, there's a shiny to open that as opposed to a switch, which is a bit of an odd choice, but what are you gonna do? Hal, they're having fun with the reused assets, I guess, trying to subvert your expectations of what you'll find. It's kind of interesting going through this section, though, with Time Crash, where I'm desperately trying to not use it until that absolute last second. And, well, I just missed one right there. You can barely see it on that, underneath that platform there. So we will. That'll be one I will come back for. And and the chili is just too strong. I just can't beat him. I have to use the little air puff that Kirby spits out when he's inflated, which you don't really do much. You know, it's one of those moves Kirby can do, but it doesn't do anything against bosses. So why would you? They put that hot dog there, I think, to make you linger on that spot, and I still didn't see the soul piece there. And we go on this side path again, which, if you'll recall, used to have a wild woofie and some meat, but this time it's a capsule instead. It's kind of interesting watching just... It's a very different game when Kirby isn't using his powers willy-nilly and just trying to slide and air puff at things. We've got one of those, I don't know if you would call them the possessed enemy, the possessed Pokey, let's call them that. It's got the soul in them. And what I find really odd about this section is that there's a wild woofie that I apparently did not kill, like it takes multiple hits. Like, I thought Time Crash was stronger than that, because it can take out bosses with, like, no problem, but... So yeah, this is the point where I realized, oh no, I forgot some. So I found this one underneath the balcony, but it was still not enough, so we have to continue to explore. And hey, there was a little bomb block there that I didn't recognize the first time, because it's hidden fairly well, and that's the last one, before I just cut to where we are. Or where we were before, and continue the level like normal. You know, it works. It's very nice that they did that, you know, because this could have made this last chunk of the game a lot more tedious to get through. But this area is pretty tough. The conveyor belts are very fast, and the enemies can be a little dastardly. I was really afraid that I don't know what you would call them, the pistons slamming down would actually destroy that soul piece, but thankfully they do not. It's very weird that they're very inconsistent with how fragile those things are, but, you know, in this case I'm glad it was not that fragile. I'm going back up there, you know, there's nothing up here, but I just wanted to look. Taking my sweet time before I come back down to where I need to be. And there is a soul piece there, so it was worth it destroying all that. Whoa. Oh no, I couldn't suck it up in time and almost get squished for my trouble. Like, this is legitimately a tough section, I feel like. The conveyors are really, really fast, and Kirby's so slow in this game. You gotta be, like, very careful. Which, I mean, fire helps out a lot with, you know, the dragon burning rush, whatever you want to call it, but that's one thing that, you know, as they try to, you know, polish this formula up, I really hope that they just make Kirby a little faster. Like, people talk about they want an open world Kirby game, and it's like, if they do that, they can't make Kirby as slow as he is now. I don't see it happening. Then here's a rare stone that I don't think I got in my initial run of the game. I think I missed it. Not that you have to get these in the stages themselves, but, you know, it's a neat little thing. And it's around this section that I'm going to slowly realize that I need Bomb to hit that switch in time, because it will slam down pretty quickly. So I have to, realize, oh no, I have to get rid of Fire, my favorite ability, and use Bomb, probably my least favorite. It has its uses, you know, but it's just not for me. But at least we got it. And I just kind of say, we'll just try Bomb for a bit, you know, even though we kind of need it. Or would like to have it anyway. And I found that kind of funny that the homing bomb actually did take out the Poppy Bro Jr. there. Which I don't know if I ever actually mentioned in this at all, but there's a lot of mini-bosses throughout the series, and there's a Poppy Bro Sr., which is just a bigger version of those guys that throw the bombs, and not in this game. It's kind of interesting that they have multiple enemies that grant you abilities, but only a handful are actually mini-bosses. And in this section, you know, in the first time you went through, you had to light a lantern to make this conveyor belt actually, like, go up. But it's just like that now. but because of the conveyors being so fast, you can actually get under that small little gap it gives you. And we got the last souls right there. There's nothing in that little extra offshoot on the left, but I'm still going to go there anyway. You know, no deep sleep blueprinted there again, just some coins, I'm pretty sure, and like a capsule, not just coins. Yeah, those blue coins are notable in that, like, they're everywhere. There's a bunch of levels that they'll give you a hidden one if you can find it. And there's a lot I still don't even know about yet. And I'm contemplating here what weapon I want, because I was getting confused and thought I was going to have to fight Chlorolin again. But this is just like an enemy rush. Needle was probably going to be a better choice here, just because I think it's a little better at taking on groups, but, I mean, I still love Sword. Why would I not use Sword if I have the option? And with that extra health bar, may as well utilize that extra sword beam for longer. And then those Bernards are like really aggressive with their shots. There we go. Being stylish with that. And the Mookies are seem a lot more durable here. They actually can take more than a hit. I'm wondering if they made the basic enemies stronger in this extra section of the game or not, because the mini bosses and bosses definitely are. But I don't really know. It would make sense, I guess, like why I couldn't kill that Wild Woofy with the crash bomb. Or the time crash, rather. But. And so I beat this section, and I'm a little nervous because I'm afraid that I've missed some soul pieces and I don't want to move on yet. Like, I climb up here, and there's just a coin, and I actually spend like a couple minutes messing around here. I cut that out. But, yeah, there's nothing else here. Like, there's not a Waddle Dee. There's, nothing like that to catch anymore. No soul pieces. It's like this section isn't done because you still have to go through the roller coaster section, so Elflin isn't piping up and telling you you can move. Yeah, I get that coin where that old blueprint was. I wander around for a second, then the cut should happen, and we'll just take a ride. And this ride's kind of mean because it is exploiting your knowledge of the first time you went through it, and it moves stuff around. So there will be Gordos where there used to be like switches or star pieces to get, and vice versa. So you gotta kind of be careful. Like they troll you right there. There's a Gordo right after you got a star piece, and you just gotta kind of do your best to avoid them. But it's funny though. All things considered, they could have been a lot worse with this, I think. And honestly, you just kind of... I remembered enough about this to at least know where most of this stuff was, and got it first try to get that final piece. But that won't actually be all the souls we need. We'll actually have to go over to that little side room after we get that triple. At which point, we're doing pretty good. We're more than halfway through the level at that point. There's just a little corrupted Noddy right there, which is just kind of funny. And I decide, I think, just to... Yeah, let's get I wanted to get the buff. But I end up getting... I'm pretty sure you can see a green flash when I wake up, showing that I got the health buff, even though I already have the second health bar. So... Sadly, you cannot stack, or what do I want to say? Sadly, like I just kept trying to get like the power or speed boost along with the double health bar, and it never really gave it to me. Like maybe once. It's random, but it doesn't discount if you already have the buff or not, which I guess makes sense because you can stack the power and speed boost. Makes sense. I pause around here because it's like, oh, did I get everything? I think I did. Because the last thing I want to do with these levels is have to repeat them, because they are quite a bit longer than your typical stage and all that. And this section's interesting because you end up having to, use mouthful modes in mini-boss fights, which the game does not do very often. people found a exploit or sequence break where in like the first level where you fight the Wild Edge for the first time, you can actually like do that like double jump glitch with the cone and actually fight it with cone mouth, but you don't do that much damage. Like it really feels like of all abilities that was not meant for combat with at least with the mini bosses. But it's kind of cool that they at least kind of did account for that in some regards. Then we get more stuff, more delicious ground chicken. Or maybe it's turkey, it's hard to say. It's some kind of fowl, I guess. And we've already fought mini-bosses with the Ringmouth before, and Ringmouth is decently strong, surprisingly enough. It just takes a handful of shots to actually hurt the enemy. And here I'm trying to make sure I actually hit Bonkers while he's vulnerable, because the bosses are a bit damage resistant, both when they spawn and when they go to their next phase. So that's one thing I don't think I ever actually say in the game, but that is something you kind of pick up on once you play it. I think Return to Dreamland also had that. I fell here. Because, yeah, wasn't aware my jumps were so shallow. But yeah, I think Return to Dreamland also had that where the bosses would just momentarily not take damage to, show that they're going into their next phase. Here we go, get the Peko, little carrots there. And then it's time for another mouthful boss, which is kind of weird, like you kind of just mash, and you do so much damage with this thing. It's 777 shots, like you're never gonna run out. And you can heal yourself with this too if you really needed to. It's kind of ridiculous. But I guess considering that you can't really dodge or anything in this form, it makes sense just to let you tank stuff and just go nuts. I kind of wait for a second, like, oh, is that the last one? No, we gotta keep going? Okay. I'm just waddling through. We still need to use this to get up to that hole. Just gonna have to sit and wait. It's an interesting combination of, reminds you of the Alival Mall section along top of, the factory where you have to put everything in the proper place. Get a delicious cheeseburger. Well, I think what's kind of interesting about this section here is that they actually have you on the big Tortilding as like the arena, which is a cool idea, but I can see why they didn't do it all that often, because there's not really that much space here. It's a pretty tightly packed fight, which thankfully we're just fighting like basic enemies for the most part. And Meta Knight Sword, doesn't even matter. It's so overpowered. This Meta Knight's so overpowered, He's the strongest there is. Obviously aside from Kirby, but the Jab Hog kind of got me. Couldn't do anything about it. It like spawned like that. It was kind of annoying. And then Pronto Bert just tries to take me with him. Now this thing's just dead, so that's fun. It came full circle. We started the first level of the game killing a giant turtle, and we ended the game, really, more or less, killing a turtle. At this point, it's time for the boss, because we only had the 5 left, as the pattern was showing. And yeah, the boss is pretty tough, I would say. Of all the Phantom bosses we fought up until this point, obviously, they kind of saved the best for last. They give me Tornado and Needle, which is just... I don't think they're good choices for any boss, honestly. Like, maybe Tropic Woods, because he doesn't really move, but this boss is so mobile. Phantom Forgo Deity it's such a mouthful. But what are you gonna do? I think of all the remixed bosses, he's probably the most different and the hardest. Like you have to really adjust your approach because he's constantly having the battlefield sink into lava, and he's just way more aggressive with all of his attacks. I mean, I'm really thankful these didn't have any like no-hit challenges with them, because it just seems like it would have been way too much effort to redo the entire level just to get one shot at the boss. Of course, I have an extra health bar, so it's not really a big deal. It's like, it's really interesting too, because like, you know, Kirby's such an easy game most of the time, and these bosses do not mess around. Like, they're legitimately, I think at this point, just going, yeah, you have all this broken stuff, so use it. If you aren't using Meta Knight's Sword and Upper Caliber to just melt stuff, then what are you doing? And I didn't try to get the hammers here, but I probably could have used Mast Hammer to fight him. Which honestly, I'm a little surprised we didn't use it as much as I thought we would, but, you know, for being a 4-tier ability. And this part of the fight's really weird too, because, like, you know, Deity runs around so much, but he has less space to move around too. And whenever he does his shockwaves, he's got the lava after him, so it's like, he's a really hard boss to pin down, I feel like. They definitely made sure to end on a high note with all this stuff. And I popped my item because I just was kind of a little afraid I was going to miss that second health bar. There we are with the slow-mo helping out a little bit, but not quite, because you can still get hit. And I almost... And with this boss fight especially, it's like everything is just like pink and magenta, and Kirby just blends right in some cases. I think they could have done better. We get to the point where he starts summoning his minions. Like, the bulls being here is interesting, but Deity just, of course, can kill him, because he doesn't care. He has no shame. Yeah. The only thing I can really say about this boss, at least to balance it out, is that he is pretty... Like, he doesn't have that... Like, he has 2 health bars, but he's not really that, you know, difficult to fight. You know, you can take him down pretty quickly. And the sword beams really helped out right at that point, you know. That's just Zelda 1 strategy. Just abuse the sword beam. What are you doing getting close? So it was a little rough, but, you know, I think in comparison to where we were, it could have been worse. But we finished the level with all 51 pieces of the soul, thankfully. Nothing we have to go back for. And we actually have all of the pieces of his soul now, so we get, you know, that's always nice to have. It feels good to have everything kind of in the game at this point. Like, you know, we just have the climax really to go, and it's less pressure. I feel like you don't have to worry about missing something. And so you might wonder, why did you have to collect 51 souls in this one and 49 in the last one? They did that because you specifically need at least 250 to tackle the final boss here. But since we got all of them, we get a special figure to kind of address that. You know, I'm not going to read it because it's going to be so desynced, but basically we see that Leon and Carol were a power couple, and unfortunately, you know, he got taken over. And like, this kind of implies that Carol is the only member of the Beast Pack that was not like brainwashed, as far as I can tell, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, they were roommates, as they say, and we had to do our best to save him. So thankfully, it worked. That took a long time to read this. Apparently, it's still going on mine. There we go. Okay, that's not going to be synced. But yeah, now we can tackle the final boss, and they make sure to have this little cutscene play, but only after you have been to all the worlds, all 6 worlds, all 6 Forgo levels. But next time we're going to have to actually help out Leon Gar with all of this stuff. So thank you for tuning in. Sorry for the desynchronization and the audio stuff, but it is what it is.